the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the home team. We play over to shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes around at the old ball game. Early the baseball games. You, the players, knew all their names. You could see where the referee shout hooray when they played. Her boyfriend by the name of Joe said to Cody, "I'm here, let's go." Then Nellie started to fret and pout, and to him I heard her shout, "Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jacks. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game."
Thank you very much, and what I got going Till I get finished, and we'll greet them all at once. Starting on my left-hand side, at the end of the table, is Jack Empey, a former player with the intermediate baseball team in Tillsonburg. Next to him, we have Ed Thompson, brother-in-law to Sam. Next to him, we have Marietta Roberts, niece to Sam. Sam's youngest son, Danny Lamb. Pat Oborka, former player, assistant coach, and friend to Sam. His youngest daughter, Kelly Sidier. I'll move down to my far right, Greg Hayward, Red Sox baseball player. Who needs no introduction? Next to him is Donnie Barnard, former player with the Red Sox. Doug Smith, former coach of the Tillsonburg Red Sox. Sam's oldest son, Terry Lamb. Our newly elected mayor, Cam McKnight. Sam's oldest daughter, Debbie Partlow. The man of the hour in the white suit is Mr. Sam Lamb. I'm Max Partlow, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is your head table. I have a few telegrams or letters, whatever you'd like to call them, to read here for you that come in. Hi, Sam. Can't remember very much about what happened years ago. So it's just a little note to offer my congratulations and best wishes on your 65th birthday. Remember, at 65 years of old, you can do anything that you've done before, but it just takes a little bit longer. From an old buddy from Springfield school days, Jack Carroll. The next one is a telegram from Heather Hayward, who is coaching a pair of skaters at the Canadian National Figure Skating Championships in Moncton, New Brunswick. Sorry I couldn't be there, Sam. Enjoy yourself. You're very deserving of this honor. And this is a letter from Sam's sister. There's a few memories in here, so he'll have to relate to it later. Hi, Sam. Do you remember whose turn it was to ride Charlie the Pony? Or maybe who gets to milk the extra cow? Also, do you recall who took the first bath in order to go to the sugar draw in Springfield on Saturday night? Well, we were all taught sharing, loving, and praying from all our older brothers and sisters. Has Ottawa paid off yet? Are you going to share? Keep California green, bring cash. Hope to see you soon. Happy 65th, and I still got you by 2. With love, Sister Donna and Ed. The next letter I'd like to read to you, Sam received it at a personal note on his 60th birthday, and he presented it to me today, and I'd like to read it to you. Happy birthday to a man we love and respect. Our love for you, you don't have to inspect. We have loved you for years, as you are well aware, and you know, Sam, we really care. There's a lot of years in your life that you give. Just keep sharing them with us as long as you live. Your knowledge and fun has been part of our lives, so Sam, be with us forever and strive. To touch the young ones, as you have been taught, so that you have the understanding friendship that can't be bought. We love you as a friend and companion, Art and Marion Partlow. Thank you. I know the mailmen are always getting teased about how slow they are, and I have a brother-in-law that is a mailman, and Jerome Jeffrey was telling me the other day they were sitting in the coffee shop after they got done work, and Jerome happened to notice there was a caterpillar on the floor. Well, Kelly got up and went over to it immediately and stepped on it. Come back to the table, and Jerome said, "What'd you do that for?" And he said, "That thing's been following me around for 2 days." Go through my notes here. Nothing lost. I would like to call upon our newly elected mayor, Cam McKnight, now for a few words.
Thank Thanks, Max. It's a pleasure to be here this evening, and a pleasure to be at a head table with a number of people I do know, and especially Sam. Congratulations on your 65th birthday, and I hope I'll get a chance to meet some of the other people later on that I don't know. Like I said, it's an honor to be here, and I think it made my night, and it was worth the price of admission just to see Max in a tux. We expect Sam to look fancy and debonair and like the gentleman all the time, but to see Max like this kind of threw me back a bit, but I'll get used to it, I guess. This is the first time I've had a chance to be a speaker at a roast, so seeing as it is a roast, I guess it'll be a different and new kind of experience. I guess primarily this is a tribute to Sam and the Mr. Baseball angle of his life, but I think everyone knows that he's involved in a lot of different things. I never had the opportunity to be on one of Sam's ball teams or be coached by him, or but I guess I'm partners with him on a different sort of team now. So I know that we'll work together well in that vein. I have, however, known Sam for quite a while through different things throughout the community. It's pretty hard to live in Tillsonburg and not know Sam Lamb. And probably everyone here who knows him well knows that on the baseball diamond or after a couple of beers, Sam's always right. You know, Sam's pretty hard to argue with him sometimes. So I've just been thanking my lucky stars that so far there are no alcoholic beverages in the council chambers, and he doesn't have a pitching mound in there yet. So maybe I could comment briefly on the election. I think Sam's election campaign was one of the most inventive and original I've seen. I wondered, I said to him one day, I said, geez, you've got a lot of signs all over, because, believe me, signs aren't inexpensive. And there were signs here, signs there, signs everywhere. I said to him one day, I said, Sam, where did you get all these signs? And he said, oh, well, there's a secret to it. He said, we've only got 20 signs, but Max and I move them every night. That's the truth, too. Just another note about Sam's campaigning style that I had to admire. He covered all ranges. Rather, you know, probably a few of you had the experience of maybe sitting down having a beer with Sam at Jack's or somewhere through the campaign, and it went to the other extreme. I'll touch on one, we were at Maple Manor one day through the campaign, and I just found this interesting because the residents, I guess they knew more of what politicians would be like than the politicians themselves. So there weren't that many residents in attendance at the politicians' meeting. But there were about 25 politicians because there were so many people involved in the election. And there were about 25 politicians, and there were a few residents scattered throughout. And everybody had a spiel, you know. They were explaining what they thought would be good or bad about or what they could do that would be good or bad. And Sam's turn came up, and he just introduced himself. Sam Lamb, the people's man. Then we bowed our heads and said a prayer. And I looked around, and here's 25 people running for office, all saying prayers. And I don't mean that as anything against praying or religion or anything, but I knew from that point on that Sam it was gonna be pretty hard to beat him if he had the big guy on his side. Sam did go through the election too with the slogan "Sam the People's Man." And just as a little aside, I'll tell you another thing that I knew that he was going to be elected because at the Independent we have a kids page, and unknown to me, one of our reporters decided it would be a great thing to do. She'd just go out and interview a bunch of kids and ask them who they thought would get elected to different positions. We didn't end up running the article in the Independent just because it seemed a little bit biased, because it did mention the fact I had fluorescent signs, a number of kids did, so it didn't seem like it would be right to give a plug. But the other fact that got mentioned all the way through, all the kids mentioned Sam the People's Man, Sam the People's Man. And now I don't know, given all the Partlows and Lambs in town, maybe they're all relatives that were interviewed. But it was effective, and I think that there's a crowd that's this big here tonight does speak well for Sam. In fact, he is Sam the People's Man. And it's after the campaign was done, one of the things that I've said a couple of times, and I sincerely mean it, is I think the council that this town has now is probably the envy of most communities, because this council represents such a wide cross-section and such a wide constituency, and I think that Sam is just a great example of that, because I mean, to get 300 or 400 people together in a room like this to honor the guy just because it's his 65th birthday. Really, I mean, we're kind of stretching it. But the fact that there are so many people that Sam does know and has touched their lives, that's a good example of the kind of people that are representing you in council. And maybe I could just touch on some of the things that Sam is involved in council. He's going to be a busy guy. He's not going to get to wear this white jacket too often. He's on Public Works, so if anything's wrong out there, you know, like, you don't always call the mayor, okay? You call the people involved with these committees. Sam's on Public Works, that's snow plows and that sort of thing, you know? He's on Special and Property. They take care of everything that the rest of council doesn't know what to do with. He's on Fire Committee. He's on the Rec Commission, and the Rec Commission, he's on two different committees in the Rec Commission. He's on the Parks and Facilities Committee, which means he's involved with the parks in town and the ball diamonds, and then he's on the he's on the Program Committee, which means the programs that are run, like the tennis program or the squash program. So if you've got problems with anything, Sam's the guy that you can just call him up. I don't know, what was your phone number, Sam? Anyway, I'd just like to close with wishing Sam well and thanking him for what he's done for this community. The Tillsonburg's the community that it is because guys like Sam Lamb are willing to get involved, pitch in, and help out in every way and any way they can. So I'd like to thank him for what he has done and thank him for what I know he will do on behalf of the citizens of the town. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cam. I think we all made the right choices in this election. The reason we decided to have this party on the 18th instead of on the 20th, which was Sam's actual birthday, is so he wouldn't get 10% off on his drinks. I wanted to get some background on Sam before we had this tonight, so I went to see Bert Newman. He's a local historian here. And I said, Bert, can you give me any information on Sam? And he said, I'm sorry, it's way before my time. They said Abner Doubleday invented baseball, and Canada and the U.S. are still arguing about where the first game was played, but I'd be willing to bet money that Sam won the diamond. I'm not suggesting that Sam's old, but his social insurance number is 2. There's been a lot of changes in baseball over the years, the uniforms, the equipment. Now they have aluminum bats. When Sam started baseball, they didn't even have aluminum siding. I'd like now to call on Her Honor, I call her that because she is a judge, Marietta Roberts.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Master of Ceremonies. I'm very pleased to be up here at the head table with all the great athletes. Don't we look great? I mean, fantastic. I'm I am a niece, and as you can tell, there is a family resemblance. We are able to eat huge amounts of food and go out and play at least 7 or 8 innings of baseball, come back in, have a couple of drinks, go out and play another 7 or 8 innings of baseball. Not that Uncle Sam would ever do that. The problem with being 65, Uncle Sam, is just this. I have to hit a home run to get to first base. I know you've never had that problem because you can still run like a deer. You've seen him run the bases, haven't you? I'm going to be very brief, but there are 2 traditions in the Lamb family. One is baseball. I am a baseball player, believe it or not. Well, you don't have to believe it. I'm not a good baseball player. But Aunt Betty's a baseball player, and so is Uncle Charlie. And the other tradition there is in the Lamb family, and that tradition is a tradition of politics. Some of us have been involved in politics in the past, and some of us are still involved in politics. And we're pleased that Uncle Sam at last has realized his great calling in life, and that is to be the people's man. Fantastic. Just a great move on your part, Uncle Sam. Because I want to say one thing to you. I think Senator Eugene McCarthy said this, and he used football. But a politician is something like a baseball player. You have to be smart enough to play the game and dumb enough to think it's important. Now, you know that this man is going to be a great politician if he is, I won't use a bad word, but if he's cheap enough to use 20 signs and move them from place to place, he's going to be in there for years. There's no question about that. This man is going to cut taxes like you can't believe. Mind you, you're going to have a lot of problems because he is going to be using more line. And if he wants to make sure that things are going well, I can tell you, Mr. Mayor, if he wants to make sure things are going well, he's going to be putting lines down the council chambers to make sure where people are going to stand, what they're going to do, and who's going to catch all his pitches. I am very pleased to be here tonight on behalf of other politicians, on behalf of the family as well, to congratulate you on your 65th. You don't look 65 years old. You don't act 65 years old. And you don't play baseball as if you were 65 years old. And I want you to remember one thing, and it was said by a great sports person. It's bad luck to be behind at the end of the game. You don't win that often. And may I say to you, you'll have many more years of playing baseball, I hope. And you make sure that you do as much as you possibly can, because baseball needs your dedication, your ability, and your agility. Let's put it that way. Anyone who can line a baseball diamond the way this gentleman does has to stay in the game for a long time. And I wish to do something that most of the other speakers here can't do. Happy birthday, Uncle Sam.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. A lot of the people say that Sam is argumentative. Sam disagrees. I saw him downtown the other day, and I said hi. He said hello. So we talked for a while. I said bye. He said sell. To get in on some of his arguments, you really have to be involved in the dugout procedure. And it's funny what goes on some nights there. And one night we got arguing about whether or not it was easier to steal second base or whether it was easier to steal third base. Most people these days think it's easier to steal third base because you can get a bigger lead at second base, etc. We argued and argued. Sam finally said it's easier to steal second. I said, how do you figure that? He says, because when you steal third, there's a short stop in between. On that note, I'd like to bring up Jack Empey.
Honored guests, Sam, it's It's really tough sitting up here at the head table. I'm never very tall. I can't see too many people, but I can see Dick Peacock sitting down there beside my wife. And Dick, stop giving so damn many signs. Keep your hands on the table, please. Marietta Roberts, that spoke before me, said athletics run in the family. I've never seen either Marietta or Sam ever run anything. If they did, probably didn't do it too well. We could have started sooner tonight, but Sam and Mayor McKnight were out digging holes for the new light standards. They have one spectator, I won't mention his name. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here to honor a great man. A family man, a friend, ball player, a manager, convener, and his latest job as counselor. When Max Partlow asked my brother Don to say a few good words about Sam, Don replied that he'd get right busy at it, write a number of good things. Don didn't even show up tonight. So, here I am pinch hitting. Now, I guess the reason Don didn't show up, probably 3 or 4. One, he thought Sam might pull him from the game. Either that, he thought John Tatarka might be here to bat. Some will remember Simcoe back in 1944. That damn ball's still going over those trees. Or, as he told me, he's still trying to think of some good things to say about Sam. That latter's a tough job. My initial acquaintance with Sam goes way back to 1951 when Sam was playing softball for in the old Tillsonburg League. I think it was the Tillsonburg Livingstons. That team was not doing very well, and the coach summoned Sam in to pitch. Softball. Sam decided to throw the ball overhand, and Max Smith, the umpire, said, "No, you can't call. Don't do that, Sam." So needless to say, his softball pitching was not very good. The reason Sam became such a fine pitcher was quite simple. When he went to the plate, he wanted to be a switch hitter and couldn't decide which side of the damn plate to stand on. It was probably Tillsonburg's answer to Tommy's little sorta, manager Scurry Lee, who told Sam to stick to pitching. I guess it was a good thing. I can remember the championship year 1962 that Sam pitched batting practice in Wallaceburg, and when Dan Barrett did not show up, Sam proceeded to pitch just a whale of a game, and we won that game 7-4. Came back to Tillsonburg the next day and beat them 16-2 in Tillsonburg. Went on from there and win the championship. That was a great year. Most ball players decide to hang up their glove, their bat, and their ball in their late 30s, 40s. Some still go at 40, but to be still active at 65 is truly amazing. I think this even beats old Bill Partington's record, doesn't it, Sam? Does it? Wow. When Sam really decides to retire, I made a little gift for him to assist this retirement. Sam, on behalf of my wife, who's here tonight, please accept this memento to help hold your glove, a baseball, and that darn baseball bat, Sam, that you're not too used to handling. Sam, please accept this on behalf of my wife and I.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jack. What Jack told you was true. I did go to the Empey family to ask them how many would be able to attend tonight, and 3 or 4 of them bought tickets. Unfortunately, they didn't make it. His brother Don was going to speak, but he said he had to milk the cows. And unfortunately for Jack, he took the stool. Even though Don isn't here, it's only hardly fitting that I mention him. He was the only pitcher that I ever played with that threw a gravity fastball. It defied the law of gravity. There's no way you can throw a ball that slow, that far. In fact, some of the leads accused him of inventing slow pitch. We were playing a ball game one day, and Don was pitching, and believe it or not, I was catching. It's a lot of meals ago. It was about 90 degrees out. Don had a rough first inning. Sam came out of the dugout and he went to the mound. Well, I just stood there. It was too hot to be bothered going out and talking anyway. Sam goes like this and motions me out there. I go out there and Sam looks at me and says, "What you got?" I said, "How would I know? I haven't had one get to me yet." I'd like to call on Doug Smith now.
Thanks very much, Max. It's nice to see you decked out in your finest. I understand you just came back from back surgeries. That makes second basemen all over the world much happier. I'm really glad to be here celebrating Sam's 65th birthday, although I thought he was 65 back in 1984. It was nice to hear Madam Justice Roberts talk to him about Uncle Sam, because now we know how really old he is. Anyway, Mr. Mayor, you want to get them lights up or what? Anyway, it's really nice to be here to honor Sam, and then just back in town for the night. And his daughter Kelly's got all this trouble with the World Series photos. Remember in 1984, I guess, when it was the World Series, me, Max, and Sam, we were in Philadelphia, and there's no hotel rooms and no tickets, nothing to do. And Sam says, hey, I'll get us a room. Well, there's beer in a van, and it didn't really matter where we're going. So Sam gets us this room in the hotel. Me, Max, Sam, one bed. Boy, that's how we became really, really close friends. But it was a great honor to coach the Red Sox with Sam and be his assistant. And it was with all Terry, Danny, Max, Sam. I don't know if I was Ward Cleaver or a coach. But Beaver and him were fighting all the time. No, I want to play. No, I want to play. But they tell me you ran on the banner of the People's Man, and I think, as the mayor has mentioned tonight, to see all these people here, that it's an absolute honor to be up here with you, and to see just how many lives you've affected, and how many friends you've made over your time. I remember back in 1980, I was going through a rough time. My mother passed away in Niagara Falls, and Sam, you were there for me. You made all the friends in the world, and those are the kind of friendships you'll cherish forever. Sam, congratulations. Thanks very much for having me here, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you, Doug. I'd like to call on Pat Smith now, a former player with the Norwich and Tillsonburg Jets.
Thanks, Max. Sam, head table guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really pleased to be here, and I wasn't trying to offend anyone by not sitting at the head table, but Sam gave us an opportunity over 20 years ago for a bunch of us to come together who didn't really know each other, and we really didn't have all that much in common other than a love for baseball. I should say softball. I better be careful with my terminology here. And Sam brought us together, and once we finished playing, we don't have that many opportunities to get together again, so I really enjoyed sitting with Leon and some of the players and reminiscing tonight. Back in 1970, when Sam started to coach our team, if anyone had asked, how do you get to Oswego, Sam should have said, you can't get there from here, you can only get there from Hamilton. I don't mean to be racial or anything like that, or have any problems in that way, but we were quite excited about having our first game in Oswego. And Sam says, sure, I'll drive the bus. I know how to get there. I've seen the sign. He was a trucker for a while, and he knew because he'd come from Hamilton and seen the sign. Wonderful. We headed out from Tillsonburg in the old green bus that maybe some of you have been around for a while remember. We were late. When we got to Simcoe, we got to the light, and long before we got to the light, it was yellow. And Sam was just mad at it. The light turned red, the first car from the right went through, in through went the green bus, and we were still on our way to Oswego. Then we went by Cayuga, Hagersville, I think almost to Hamilton. We came in kind of from the northeast corner, and we saw this sign that said, Six Nations Reserve. And Sam says, well, here we are, we'll just ask somebody where the diamond is. Well, the first few people didn't even know that there was a ball diamond on the reserve. Then we found somebody who told us how to get to Oswego. We must have been 10 miles from that ball diamond when Sam says, here we are. About game time, we arrived. Ever after that, Sam didn't get to drive the bus that often. Fuzz conscripted Ace to drive the bus a few times. Fuzz drove the bus a few times, but not Sam. Before I went any further, Lois Young was actually supposed to be doing this tonight, and she was supposed to sing. And as Sam will well remember her singing voice, but she chickened out. But she did ask me to take issue with the ticket that says in here, Old Sox, Red Sox, and has nothing about the Jets. Okay, Lois? Okay. Sam took up the challenge of combining desire and developing skills with a group of girls, as I said before, who didn't really know all that much about playing ball. And we were kind of a mixed bunch. We had Brenda Kenny on our team who was 13, and I was the oldest, and I was just recently married. And he had a lot of things to deal with. Brenda we called Krusty because she was kind of going through puberty, and boy, she was really cranky some days, wasn't she? She got so bad one time, she's not here, but I was going to say this even she's here because we tease her all the time. She got so bad we locked her in the John one time, we were up in Milverton and wouldn't let her out. Remember that, Sam? And a few years ago we had a little reunion and played the Steelers. And the day that we happened to have that game, Brenda was there, and now that she's mature and everything, it was okay, and it was her first day. So we thought we should reminisce a little bit. Remember, Sam? We locked her in your little shed. Somehow we knew when Sam was coaching us that his heart wasn't 100% with these girls. Now, he wouldn't admit that openly, but we knew that deep down inside, if he'd had his druthers, he had been coaching boys basketball. And we kind of always felt that if we didn't produce, we were going to lose them. But he also approached our team from the point of view that the only way he knew how to teach was basketball skills. He didn't do the same things that other softball coaches did with female teams. He had us doing things that double steals and things that the opposition wasn't expecting. And he challenged us to the right to the limit. I don't think he realized it near as much as we did, but there wasn't a soul on our team who wouldn't have done anything to please Sam. And the other thing that we really all appreciated about him was he always took responsibility. When we talked about this the other day, Lois was reminding me about how Sam always said, if I give you the sign, you do it, you're right. If you get out, it's my fault. He always took that responsibility. And that made him such a part of the team. There's sometimes when the coach just gives signs, but Sam played every play with us. And that was one thing that we really learned about teamwork. He taught us to be gutsy. And, you know, it's maybe not too nice for girls to be gutsy, but we learned what it was really all about and not to give up. There were a few players on our team who were a little bit predictable, and some of them are here tonight. Sam, you remember the time when we got poor Carol Clifford with a black eye in Tonawanda? Remember the first time we tried out the helmets? There was a new rule came in, ladies basketball, you got to wear helmets. So we were going to Tonawanda, and Susan Sutherland was trying to steal third base, brand new helmet on, and this girl just threw that ball so hard, off went Susan's helmet, saved her brain, but we were really glad we had the helmets. And then there was the Langmore family who were supporting us at that time, and we have great memories of that family. Ace used to drive the bus sometimes, and one time we were playing off in Hamilton, and Ace was coming back from a trip. He had one of Fuzz's great big rigs right downtown Hamilton, right in the middle of the residential spot. Ace pulls up the big truck, must have blocked about 4 driveways, but he came to our game. Remember that? And then there was always Fuzz, who was always so crazy. We had so many good times with Fuzz and Leon. Leon and Dorothy, they were the only people who added any dignity to our team, and we were really pleased that they were always with us. It added some sanity. I mentioned the Tonawanda team. In return to that trip that we had to Tonawanda, we hosted them back here. We thought it was the international event of the century, and because these girls were really something else. But we were playing an American team right here in downtown Tillsonburg, and Sam taught us a little more about ball, and particularly that event, because we felt this was an international event. We would host them, and we went back to Sam and Dorothy's and had a barbecue, and found out that these 6-foot Amazons who would really be delights of us were really human beings, and we really had a lot of fun. And that's the one thing that I really appreciated, and I know all the players did, was the whole side of softball that Sam did for us. As I mentioned at the beginning, he was our coach through most of us through our teens. And the thing that I want to really emphasize, not only in thanking Sam, but for the many other coaches who are here, players who are here, and parents who are here. Sometimes when you're going through that time, it's really nice to have someone who cares about you, who you don't have to live with if you're not directly involved with. Sam cared about every one of his players and was very supportive, and we'll always be very indebted to him, I'm sure of that. Sam, I can't keep track of my notes here, but I'm not going to do that. You know what? Okay. As I said before, when we played ball, you taught us to be gutsy. You made us believe in ourselves, and you taught us to never say die. These strengths helped us to be champions on the field when we won provincial championship twice with you, and it helped us to mold our characters and meet the many challenges of life. We congratulate you on reaching your senior citizen status and wish you well in your new career as counselor. Municipal and federal payroll is a great retirement bonus for a super coach.
Thank you very much, Pat. At this time, I'd like to call on Ed Thompson, Sam's brother-in-law, who traveled all the way from Barrie to be with us tonight.
Thank you, Max, and happy birthday, Sam, on Monday. Thank you. And I don't know whether you realized you invited me here tonight, but I appreciate the invitation. I'm not really prepared to do any roasting. When Debbie gave me a call at Barrie to say that they were looking for roasters for Sam, I thought she said roosters, and I brought one down to Sam. I'll give it to you after. But I was asked to say a few words about the Lamb family. And my credentials for that, if I have any, are that I'm married to Sam's younger sister, Betty. And I'm happy to say that that turned out to be the smartest thing I ever did. I married the girl of my choice, and the lady of my life, and the mother of my children. We have 6 so far. But along with that, with Sam being coming from a family of 9, along with getting a bride at the same instant, I got 6 brothers-in-law and 2 sisters-in-law, and along with their spouses, that made 5 more sisters-in-law and 2 more brothers-in-law, along with whatever nieces and nephews that were there at that time that grew eventually to over 30, I think, and by now there's great nieces and nephews and great-great nieces and nephews, and my bookkeeping ability has escaped me. I can't keep track. But anyway, by having that number of relatives, I just want to say that it's added a tremendous dimension to my life from all of them, brothers-in-law, sisters-in-law, nieces and nephews, and what have you. I've experienced nothing but kindness, hospitality, generosity in large measure, and without exception. And the next generations are following the same examples. And I would have to refer to Sam's mother and father. Some in the audience will have known Frank and Eva Lamb, and they personified kindness. They were hardworking, loving, generous, highly principled. I just couldn't have asked for a better mother and father-in-law. And I'm proud to be connected with every one of them. Now, if I could just digress a bit and get back to Sam. You know, we were raised only about 5 miles apart, but that's pretty well back in the horse and buggy days. And at that point in time, farming communities neighbored about a maximum of 1.5 miles from their own home. So a mile and a half either way from my place or Sam's place, we had that left a gap in the middle. But I knew who Sam was. Now, you can't hear the name like Sam Lamb without remembering it. And more than that, Sam somehow or other generated publicity or whatever. And we knew about Sam when he was 7 or 8 years old, and a near tragedy where he was trying to overpower a Holstein calf in the backseat of a car, and the car went into the ditch. And he won, I think, but just. And so we knew of Sam then, and then later on, Sam's picture, I guess when he was 11 or 12, was in the St. Thomas Times Journal. The youngest plowman at the International Plowing Match in 1938, Sam? 30. When the International Plowing Match was held at Mitch Hepburn's farm, his picture was in the paper riding a tractor. If it had been me, it would have been horses. But anyway, that's the background. I never really had direct contact with the Lamb family until 1938 when I started high school in grade 9, and Sam's brother Ernest was at high. He's the one with the white beard down there. Ernest was in grade 13, and he was kind enough to befriend me at high school, and we had lunch together at the cafeteria different times, and he'd tell me about his family and his brother Sam and his sister Betty. Talked quite a bit about her. I think he was trying his hand at matchmaking at that time. Ernie, you're shaking your head. I'm sorry. He didn't want me to tell you that he was older than I am. But anyway, it was not till about 1944, if you don't mind chronological order here. I've only got another date or two to mention. 1944 that I first started dating his little sister. And it was around about that time that, within a few months I think, when Sam was dating Dorothy Dickinson. Now we were each serious about this, but I don't think our girlfriends really realized it. We were both, we obviously both had an eye for beauty. And we both experienced a fair degree of competition. Now I always admired Sam for his ability to keep the competition under control. And more truthfully, I guess I envied him. But he was so intent on keeping the competition at bay that at 20 years old in September 1947, Sam got married, and that clinched the whole thing. From then on, he had everything his way. But now I don't know, Sam can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in that period of time, Sam had his hand at, apart from working home on the farm, he picked a back a bit, didn't you, Sam? And he worked as a carpenter building tobacco kilns. And then, of course, as soon as when he got married, that started the family situation, and Terry came along pretty good. And if my memory serves me right, I think the first time I saw Terry as a baby, he had a baseball uniform on. And he was a cute little guy. He had, he had an interesting smile. I remember I stayed overnight one night when Sam and Dorothy lived on Bidwell Street. And that was before I was married, so I slept in a little cot in the same room as Terry had his crib. And in the morning he woke up before I did, because and about a year old I think he was, when I woke up he was looking over the crib with a smile on his face. And the smile, you could read it either way. It's like, I was the funniest looking thing he'd ever seen. But the other smile he kind of had was, like, you're full of prunes. See? There, see, he's got a tooth right now. But anyway, if I could just mention that Terry and then Danny and then, well, when Terry and Danny were little guys, you never saw kids running through a house faster. It was almost hazardous to be in a house. And I was worried for Debbie when she came along, but she seemed to survive it nicely. And then, of course, by the time Kelly came along, things had settled down. But if I could make reference to Sam being a family man, and that's exemplified in a few different ways. He built his own house on North Street, and he and Dorothy together, and your dad dug the well for you, Sam. It was a Sandpoint well, and the reason I remember that was because he engaged me to come down to the shovel too there a couple afternoons. And it worked, I understand, it worked well. But if I can pay, without roasting, if I did pay a tribute, Sam has an uncanny ability. His devotion to his family is superb. But along with that playing ball, full measure, and his job at Livingston, full measure, how he kept the three balls in the air at the same time like a juggler, I don't know, but he did well at it. And I think it's a tribute to Sam that his family refused to move any distance away from him because they want to be near him, along with the grandchildren, and that they've arranged this do for him tonight. Tells you what kind of a family man Sam is, and in my view, he's emulated the standards that his father and mother set before him. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ed. I'd now like to call on our Chief of Police, Hank Harley.
Can you take a break? Break at
Do you want it? Police
Thank you. You know, it's really amazing how you and the judge have something in common. You both got sent to the bench. Are you the Sam Lamb of 37 Centennial Avenue?
Yes.
Would this be the one that's still looking for the 24 by 12 by 8 inch blue hand-painted toolbox and sockets and assorted tools and a red CCM bicycle?
Yes.
Would you be the one that has a carport that would be described by a police officer as a carport having an open nature?
Yes.
Would you be the Sam Lamb of 37 Centennial Avenue that reported 15 flamingos stolen? Value $75. October the 9th, 10th, 1988. Would you be the Sam Lamb that was responsible for that prank at Max Parlow's?
Yeah.
Would you be the same one that recovered 7 pink and 1 white flamingo?
Yes.
But didn't deduct the cost of those from your claim? 7 pink flamingos still outstanding?
Yes.
Good Lord, it's a good job they didn't put flamingos in your lawn. why would Sam Lamb of 37 Centennial Avenue ever report that his saw and weed eater was stolen from his garage?
Yes.
The one that says, come in and steal all my stuff. I got it laying out here so everybody can see it. Presume the family borrowed it. I know them better than that, Sam. Samuel Ivan Lamb. An officer, this is a true story, Lamb. I'm telling it to you. Came to me today and said that he was accused of being your son. Somewhere we have proof. This officer doesn't even bear your name, but was mistaken for your son and wanted a message brought to you tonight. Just because you got elected to council doesn't mean you can park in the invalid parking spots. In this town, only mayors designate their own places to park. Also, the Ministry of Transportation and Communications for the province of Ontario want to know where all these other vehicles are that you have long-standing license plates for. But truly, we have some gifts for you from the police department. We have an earphone, so you can listen to the ball game while the mayor is speaking. We have a coloring book, a seatbelt deputy, do up your seatbelt book that we'd like you to read and pay attention to. We have a bulletin on coffee, tea, and me. Since you've been elected to council, we have instructions on how to deal with bomb threats. We have a counselor's book on being a good neighbor. We have we have books coming out here, Ontario residents, how to protect your home by locking things up and not leaving them undone in the carport. How to protect your credit cards. You can be a partner in preventing crime. Welcome to Tillsonburg, catch the spirit. How to plan your escape. Neighborhood watch, and of course, if you were anything of a counselor, you'd pick up on the challenge of the mayor of the town, you become a block parent. Here's how many drinks you can have before you go home tonight. Dan? Give this to Danny, he's in charge. There's another car park book. How to get out safely, it says. Then it says, can you make the grade? Play it smart. Know the score. How to file a complaint against a police officer. A map for the town. I've heard you've had trouble getting home sometimes. Red ribbon for your van. That's the red ribbon to go on the aerial of that van that has a picture of Terry drinking a beer while he's driving over. Stick this on your door. It says your home's protected by Neighborhood Watch. Another one, here's how to call the police, the fire, or the ambulance, and how to get your insurance from Bob Smith. Buttons for you to wear. Give one to Terry. It says, please drive responsibly. And then this is for me. One for Terry. It says, thanks for listening. Here's a bumper sticker for the van. It isn't really good. I could put a Crime Stopper sticker on a van that's always parked behind the Royal. And last but not least, we have a crime-proofing stopper for senior citizens. And now that you are one, you better read up on that. And when you get your ticket for not listening to anything I've said, you have to sign it, and here's a Tillsonburg police pin that you can do that with. Happy birthday and many more.
Thank you very much. What I'd like to do here, and I don't want you all getting carried away on me, but we'd like to take a short intermission. So if you'd like to visit the washroom, refresh your drinks, but let's not be too long, okay? We'll be about 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, that was a good ball game out there.
Thank you very much. Sam was born in Springfield, and I think that's very fitting because Spring and Field have quite a connection. And I don't confess to be a poet, but I jotted down a little something here. Springfield was his nest, those two words say it best. For spring is when he starts to yield the finest of his baseball fields. He rakes, drags, and limes, so it will look its best each time. Respect he does command, and he gets it from this land. And when it's said and done, score or not, he's won. Anybody that's heard me speak at a wedding reception or anything, you'll have to bear with me on this because I have to tell you a story because Sam is a perfectionist. If you hit a single, he thinks you should have stretched it into a double. If you get a note, he thinks there's no reason you can't do it every time you get a double play. He always likes to go for perfection. Well, that reminded me about a lady that was looking for a perfect husband. So she put an ad in the paper, and she said, wanted, a man that will not beat me, will not run around on me, and will make mad, passionate love to me. Well, this being the 90s, she didn't get any replies. So about 2 months later, she's sitting at home watching TV and the doorbell rings. She goes to the door and she opens it, and there's a man there, and he has no arms and he has no legs. She looks at him and says, what can I do for you? And he said, I'm here to reply to your ad. Well, she couldn't help but get a little smirk on her face. He said, what's so funny? She said, I don't have any arms, so I can't beat you. And I don't have any legs, so I can't run around on you. She said, there was a third stipulation. He said, I rang the doorbell, didn't I? I'd like to call on Greg Hayward now. Thank you, sir. To begin with, on behalf of the Red Sox of today, I've got one quick story about the kind of man that Sam Lamb is. Last year we played a doubleheader game on a Saturday up in Listowel, and we had some problems with a fastball pitcher who was throwing a lot of high inside fastballs. Now, as it turned out, a batter of ours Tim Tripp would remember this well. A batter of ours ended up charging the mound after 2 consecutive inside pitches. Well, of course, the benches cleared, and after a couple of minutes of resting on the diamond, I remember thinking to myself, where the hell is Sam? With the catch of a glimpse, I see Sam rolling around in the dirt, and he's got a hold of 2 other guys. And I'm sure if Sam had some twine on him, those guys would have been hogtied in a second. You don't mess with a farm boy. Sam's recent campaign slogan was "Sam Lamb, the People's Man," and no words could better describe him. When Sam's around, you get this sense that someone is in charge, someone is taking control, and yes, someone has brought the beer. My tribute to Sam is in the form of a poem. We are here tonight because it feels right to honor Mr. Baseball, Sam Lamb. We have all come together through this cold winter weather. We wouldn't miss this party, no ma'am. For Sam is a doer, a mover, a shaker, a leader who has coached most of us. He's at the forefront, taking all of the brunt, but the hardships he'll seldom discuss. He looks for the good, as only Sam could, and he brings out the best in his players. We work as hard as we can for the man with the van, but still have given him many gray hairs. Now, if you've traveled with Sam or just been in his van, get plenty of sleep before you start. Because you get no rest with this man in the vest. He's younger than any of us at heart. And if you sat in a hotel or maybe a motel and Sam was close at hand, soon you'll be shuffling a deck or playing crokinole with Bob Beck or pitching horseshoes on some private land. But Sam loves his baseball and he'll argue any call just to see if the ump knows his game. And he backs off to no sound, even if it means charging the mound. To back his team, Sam carries no shame. In the early spring light, if the wind is blowing right, you can hear Sam in his trusty tractor. Because to play a good game, Sam has always claimed, takes a well-lighted diamond. No, sorry. A good diamond is always a factor. He's built the dugouts, and he's been paid well, no doubt. Anything and everything it takes, he will do. He lives for the game, and such is his name. Sam is Mr. Baseball to me and to you. To Sam, on his birthday. Thank you very much, Craig. Now I'd like to introduce you to our version of amateur ball, our own Nolan Ryan, Donnie Barner.
Can't seem to see anything. We only had lights. I'd like to quickly apologize to anyone that I shook hands with tonight. A few of you said my hands were rather cold. I'd just like to tell you why. I dropped a loonie in the urinal. I do apologize for that. I should maybe mention before I go any farther, if you look on your program, the person following is Pat Worka. I didn't want to speak before him because I'm going to be a wash. It's obvious, so bear with me. The next one will be a little better than I am. It's great to see so many people tonight. You know, with doom and gloom in the economy all around us, layoffs, business failures, etc. To see everyone with smiles and good wishes for Sam is just great. So I'd just like to thank you for that. And now we'll get on to the serious stuff. First of all, I'd like to thank the family for the opportunity to express my appreciation to some guy named Sam Lamb.
We're gathered here tonight to pay tribute to someone who needs no introduction. As a matter of fact, I couldn't introduce him because I don't know which one he is. Maybe someone could possibly point him out to me a little later. You know, it has taken a lot of thought preparing something to share with you tonight about Sam. All I could think about all day was Sam, Terry, Danny throwing things at me. If they took offense to a joke that I might say. But I'm not worried. I played ball with them. I've seen them throw a ball. I'm not too worried about it. They won't hit me. I was discussing this next sequence with my wife today, and I wasn't going to do it, but listening to Max and all the jokes he's told so far, I'll go ahead with it anyway. I was hoping by this time in the program that Max was doing an outstanding job as your MC, so that this next sequence would seem appropriate. By the way, doesn't he look nice in his rental? Looks like Chili Willy coming home from a New Year's Eve party. Seriously, Max was telling me today that of all the events that he's looked after in the last few years, he has never once received a standing ovation. Please help me now in giving this man what he deserves. I'm going to pay for that one just a little bit later. As a matter of fact, I'll give him the pen and start making the notes right now. One of the controversies surrounding the ball council, you didn't think I'd bring that up tonight? Is our inability to get lights erected at the ball diamond. Well, I might as well be truthful about the whole thing. It's Sam's fault. We have been accused of drugging the horses during the horse races at the fair, spraying gasoline on the track for Paul Revere Hall drivers, writing graffiti on the office of the fair board, purposely hitting foul balls behind the grandstand during games, bringing our garbage from home and spreading it at the grandstand. Seagull droppings on the fair board office was our fault because we fed them popcorn at the ball games. Having a beer tent at the ball tournaments and serving beer at it. Mustard and relish found in the grass after our ball tournaments. Someone sitting in the grandstand without a pass. By Sam helping erect a fence for the corral, and they didn't want help. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Well, I quite agree. Of course, a lot of these things are fictitious, or else I wouldn't be up here tonight. My point is, that the newspapers, namely one, which we will not mention because our other newspaper is here, in the form of our Mayor Cam, do not treat this in a positive manner. How can anyone look at it other than an utter ridiculous? Enough said. Back to Sam. Because I didn't know Sam early in his baseball career, how could I? I'm in my early 40s and I'm not exactly sure if this is his 63rd birthday or what. I decided to talk to my mother about Sam. Apparently, my father was just around 35, 36. I see him shaking his head here. And Sam was coming into the ball scene about age 20. So I asked my mom, could you tell me anything about Sam? I asked her, was he a good pitcher? She said, well, no. So I thought, Well, maybe he didn't pitch too well. He must have been a good hitter. Well, she said, no. Well, they must have liked him for his defense, Mom. No, was he good with the glove? No. Well, how about his quickness? Was he quick of foot? Could he steal bases? No. Well, geez, Mom, you're not helping me here too much. What was he good at? Well, he was at every game. They had ice cubes back then. Do they still have the most dedicated player award? Because he got that. Enough said about Sam and his baseball career. I thought I'd just mention quickly here tonight that there's some people here that didn't follow the Red Sox. There are some who did. We had a thing called the Owls Club. We have the founding members here tonight. That's myself, Jerry Peacock, Doug Smith, and Dave Pittock. When you turn 65, it's an automatic entry into the Owls Club, so welcome to the Owls Club, Sam. I thought of a quick joke the other day, and some of you may have heard it. It's about Sam, Terry, and Dan. We're out fishing one particular afternoon in the Pacific Ocean. It was just recently. The boat went down. What can I say? They swam to shore on a desert island. Do you remember this joke at all? No. But anyway, as they got to the island, they got a little lonely. But all of a sudden, a bottle rolled up to the shore. Danny, he's a little strange on an island. So he was the first one right over there. He grabbed the bottle, he rubbed it, and a genie come out. Incredible thing. Genie says, "Thank you very much. I've been in this bottle for 4,000 years. All of you get one wish." Dan says, "Oh, I'll tell you right now, I want to be in Yankee Stadium. I want to have a beer in this hand, a hot dog in this hand." Poof, he's gone. And Terry, we all know Terry likes to eat. Get a little hungry. Okay. How about you? Well, I'd like to be in a New York restaurant. I'd like to have a nice bottle of wine, nice juicy steak in front of me. Poof, he's gone. Gets to Sam. Sam, how about you? What would you like? Sam looks around. It's kind of a small island. It's getting kind of lonely. Geez, I wish those two guys were back here. And they've hated him ever since. Seriously though, I know everyone here wants to wish him well, so I'll make this quick. I can't tell you what a pleasure it is to know him. His warmth, humor, and genuine concern for his family, close family, is rare. If you only knew the things he does for people that no one ever hears of, you would be amazed. We have shared many laughs and tears over the years. There have never been anyone who would make you feel so good when it was almost impossible. That is his way and his only hits. He doesn't know this, but I kind of adopted him as my, or what we call part-time dad, a few years ago. And if the part-time son ever comes up, I'd certainly like to apply for the job. I'd like to close with a quick poem here. It's kind of silly, but you'll have to listen anyway, being so I'm up here. Another candle on your cake. Well, that's no cause to pout. Be glad that you have strength enough to blow the damn thing out. Happy birthday, Sam. Many more.
Thank you very much, Donnie. Donnie, of course, you know, is a pitcher, as a Sam was. And one thing about pitchers, they got a one-track mind. They think no matter what wrong in the game, it wasn't their fault. Either the umpire missed the call, the catcher called the wrong signal, the guy didn't field the ball, but they always think they're right. Donnie was pitching a game one day. Sam came out to the mound, said, Don, I'm going to take you out. I'm going to put Glenn Rohr in. Don looked up the home plate, and he looked at the batter, and he said, Sam, I struck this guy out last time up. Sam says, yeah, I know, Don, but we're still in the same inning. I'd like now to call on Pat Awarka.
It's nice to know that I'm up here finishing off for everybody. It's the first time I've ever been in cleanup. And with my batting average, as everyone knows, it was an impossibility that was going to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, and head table guests, Debbie and Max approached me a few weeks ago, and they said that they wanted me to say a few words in a roast. And they wanted me to recall a few of the memories that we've had over the years that I could relate this evening. Well, I got a few, Sam. No, seriously. First off, I wish to convey to you and the members of the Lamb family the regrets from the Abbott family. Bert came to my house and asked that I do this because he and Clarence and Bill Murray and Rob couldn't make it. They were with their wives at a family event, and they wished me to give you all their best regards. That's the serious part of it. A lot of you people know me. You don't realize that I have a stutter. And two things happen to me when I get nervous. The first thing is my stutter disappears. The second thing is that I wet myself. I'm not going to move out from behind this podium, but Sam can attest to the fact that his arm is warm and his drink is a little fuller. Sam has an aversion to gas, not bodily type, the type that we pay GST and PST for to put in our cars. No, it's not your fault, Sam, okay? GST isn't your fault. But there have been several events that have happened over the years that when I've been with Sam, and this lack of gas has come to being. There's been tournaments in Simcoe and games in Walsingham. I can recall coming back from our first old-timers tournament in Niagara Falls, and Sam said, we got enough to make Cayuga. No problem, no problem. 3 miles east of Cayuga, the van went clunk. We got some gas, and we made it into Cayuga. By this time, Dorothy and Penny were suffering a lot of bladder pain. There wasn't anything open in Cayuga except this house that was selling antiques. Sam said, there's the spot. We went there and said, we're interested in antiques. And our wives managed to convince the wife that we should use the facility. Sam and I used the one behind the barn because it was more suitable to us. And then there was the one time that we went to Detroit. And Sam is known for his famous shortcuts. He's got shortcuts you wouldn't believe. We started off the day, there was 2 carloads of us going to Detroit. Wives were going to shop, we were going to a ball game, where else? We crossed at Sombra. Sharon Hart, I didn't think was going to make it. She was so scared. We finally did make it, though. We went to the ball game, the wives did their shopping, and then we came back. Sam found another shortcut on the way back. Somewhere outside of Brownsville, the car again went clunk. We said, oh, we're not that far from Mel Empey's farm. So we had a little walk down to Mel's place, and a great big German Shepherd came up. And you know, the Empeys have a thing about big dogs. But then to Don and Jack, a miniature poodle would be a big dog. But Mel came out and calmed the dog down, and we got our gas, went on our merry way. Anyone that has played ball for Sam or with Sam over the years knows that in our traveling around, we've had been to a few tournaments around the province, and we always happen to have a big campfire at night, and everybody sits down, and it's family time, and tells stories, and the jokes get a little caustic and sarcastic. I recall a few about hairline jokes. Larry DeWaller remembers one about a light bulb. I still remember that one, Larry. Barney and Max and Larry, they'd be easy to roast tonight. No one ever said anything bad about Sam at any of these fires. No one. But then Doug and Jim Livermore and I know we didn't make up the lineup. Sam did. One other item, several years ago, we were in Hamilton at an OBA convention, and there was Max and Debbie and Dorothy and Sam and Penny and myself, and we were discussing a change that we had proposed. Southern counties had proposed this change to OBA, and it had to do with helmets. And we were sitting there the evening before discussing it, and Sam, surprisingly, got a little argumentative about it. And Max and I finally convinced him, no, we agreed with him. We were going to make the motion. We wanted it to go. So the next day, while we were at the convention, and a few other people were sitting at the table, we were discussing this motion because it was on the floor, and Sam was telling us all about the good points. And again, surprisingly, we get into an argument and said, oh, easy, Sam, we're with you. We agreed. So later, the next day, we were on our way to Buffalo to watch a hockey game. And on the way there, again, this double-flapped helmet thing came up. And we were arguing, or Sam was arguing. Max and I were listening. And Dorothy said, Sam, would you shut up? I know you want to argue. Wait till we get back to Tillsonburg. Tell Terry, then you can argue. In Sam's election campaign this year, he was the people's man. He was a team player. We know he is. But I know now why he used that approach. See, Sam's had a lot of teams over the years, many teams. But now that he's 65, he finally has that chance to possibly become Rookie of the Year. 1984, Jim Murphy and I decided to start a junior baseball team with a little help from Doug Smith. And we came to the point of ordering uniforms and getting the necessary things that we needed for the ball team to operate. And we picked out numbers and so on. And we decided that we would not use one particular number, that being number 2. Sam's always worn number 2 as long as I've known him. And I think that's maybe because he's always wanted to try a little harder. But we don't use number 2 on our team. You're number 2, Sam, but you're number 1 to us.
Thank you, Pat. Sitting there watching you speak, I couldn't help but think of the Sky Dome. And when the Sky Dome was built, they had a contest to name the dome. And Sam, being a baseball nut, put his entry in. And he thought very highly. Conn Smythe had done a lot for the Toronto area, but they wouldn't accept the Conn Dome, so... On a more serious note, when you grow up in a small town, there are certain people who you have a natural respect for, but unfortunately as the years pass, you lose some of those people. And I'd like to take the time to recognize and just point out some of the things that these gentlemen have done. Bill Burns was a player and a friend. Jim Hartnett had a big part in Mount Elgin baseball, which turned out some excellent ball players. Jack Campbell, a player, a coach, and arena manager whose laugh and smile was sadly missed. John Hunter, recreation director, who handled all registrations, the diamonds, the pools, and etc., and never really received the recognition that he deserved. Jim Murphy, a sports writer for 12 years and a friend who shared a lot of laughs with us, will always be a part of our memories. Dorothy Lamb, of course, a wife and a mother of whom we all miss. And one other person I'd like to mention, and thank God he's still with us, and that's Roy Beachy. He's done an awful lot for this town, and I'd just like to say thank you and God bless to these people. time, Sam has 12 grandchildren, 2 of which were a little young and they had to go home for the evening, which was Kelly and Kelly's 2 kids, Eric and Kristen. But the other grandchildren would like to stand up and lead you people in happy birthday to Sam. And as I introduce your name, I'd like them to stand up. Terry's children are Sherry, Nicole, Terry Jane, and Stacy. Danny's children are Tammy, Trevor, and Tyler. My own children and Debbie's are Shannon, Derek, and Courtney, and of course Kristen and Eric have went home for the evening. They were Kelly's. I'd like these children to start off by singing Happy Birthday, and I hope you people join in. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sam. Happy birthday to you. Thank you. Speaking of children, I think it's time we got to the children of Sam Lamb and see what they have to say. I'd like to call on the oldest son, Terry Lamb.
Seeing Max in that fine-looking tuxedo reminds me of what Dad said after my sister married him. Quote, I didn't lose a daughter, I gained a ton.
Thank you.
No way. As some of you know, Dad and I have had our disagreements over the years. However, we have found one thing to agree on. I am a better ball player than Danny. On a serious note here, when I was growing up, Dad was the type of parent that always had the time and energy to be involved with his children's interests. He was the parent that drove, not the one that sent his kids with others. Our friends were considered his friends and always welcomed in our home. Later on in life, Dad was called upon to be the Maytag repairman, or Mr. Goodwrench. Whenever I was scratching my head over a car repair or a wash machine that was not working, he always had the time to come over and help solve the problem. Oh, that reminds me, Dad, do you think you can come over tomorrow morning and fix my dryer? Over the years, his generosity, trust, and understanding has helped me through some trying times. Thank you, Dad. Finally, I'd like to congratulate you on your personal accomplishments over the past year and say how proud I am of you. Happy birthday from Pat and I and all the girls.
Thank you very much. I think there's a little misunderstanding here. We had roast beef. This is roast lamb we're having now. I'd now like to call on Debbie Partlow.
Max, you told me you'd fix this for Jack MP and I. Kelly and I originally planned to let the boys do the speaking, but my husband was quick to point out that he was the MC, and we would each be called upon to say a few words. So I decided to take him at his word and come prepared. I thought about talking about some of Dad's baseball achievements, but then I realized that topic would be well covered with the other speakers. I do remember years gone by, and some of my earliest childhood memories are of hot Sunday afternoons at the Tillsonburg ballpark. Mom often told the story of Dad being unable to attend the birth of their second son. Apparently, he was the starting pitcher in an important game that day. Mom recalled even the doctor heard that you pitched a good game that day. I guess I'll let you explain that one, Dad. I also remember as a child, Mom insisted that Dad take time off from his own baseball team to take his family on a 3-week summer vacation, somewhere far enough away so that he couldn't make it back to play baseball. And we did. Each year, Dad took us on a 3-week vacation. What I didn't realize until many years later was that Dad planned those early trips, and each year, our summer vacation centered around U.S. cities with major league ballparks. Of course, Dad made sure that the entire family went to the game, and I soon learned to respect and enjoy the game of baseball. I know Dad is well known for his baseball accomplishments and his infinite dedication to the game, but I believe his special gift is his desire to help others. As a father, he has always been there for us. It doesn't matter what time of day or night you call, he's there without question. It may be to help build a patio deck or an extra bedroom in your basement. It might be to fix your car or to come to your rescue when you're stranded because you've run out of gas. Something, I might add, I seem to have inherited from my father. It may be to give you a ride to work or to pick up your kids from school when one vehicle isn't enough. And he's also a very good listener when things are going well in your life. Whatever the reason, you can always rely on the fact that Dad's only a phone call away. His desire to help others isn't restricted to his family either. I know many of his friends call upon him when they need a hand. I really think the reason he's called upon so often is that he responds without hesitation. I guess the fact is, Dad's enjoyment comes from helping others. A lot of the time, his help is volunteered. He doesn't wait to be asked. He's an organizer, all right, and if you're not careful, your party or event will be planned before you even know you need one. As a grandfather, he's the best. In the early 70s, it wasn't unusual to see Sam Lamb driving around Tillsonburg on a Sunday afternoon with his 3 one-year-old granddaughters. Whether it was a Santa Claus parade or just visiting friends, Papa Lamb was always proud to show off his grandchildren. I know Shannon, Sherry, and Tammy may not remember those early days, but we've got the pictures to prove it. And when the boys came along, Grandpa attended more minor baseball and hockey games than the parents did. And for many winters, when Derek and Trevor were playing minor hockey, the famous blue van was our transportation to the game. Dad would never let you drive if he and Mom were going to the game. Now, the eldest 3 granddaughters are all attending college, and Grandpa Lamb has been known to provide transportation to and from Stratford and Kitchener on occasion. And I heard a rumor about a year ago when the girls first left the nest that Grandpa told them if they ever needed him, they were to pick up the phone and he would be there. Speaking on behalf of my brothers and sister, I can honestly say we've had a lot of fun planning this party. We've had a few difficulties, right dear? But for the most part, we had a great time. And the support we received from our family and friends was incredible, and we thank you all. The only regret we have is that our mother is not here to enjoy this night with us. But she is here in our hearts, and the love that she shared with her family is expressed through each of us as we celebrate Dad's birthday this evening. Dad has a father and a grandfather. We've been blessed with the best. Happy 65th birthday.
Thank you very much. Next on the agenda, in answer to Terry, we have younger brother Dan.
Terry. Shouldn't have said that. First of all, I'd like to allude to the fact that it was fun planning this event. However, our last meeting was Wednesday past, and I think if we had one more meeting, this wouldn't have went off at all. At all. Now, I was sitting down one day, not too long ago. I was contemplating a donut shop, Terry. Contemplating what I should say tonight. And my sisters were very concerned that I didn't have a long speech or I hadn't prepared it yet and all this. But when I was sitting there, I had some paper quite handy. So I thought I'd just jot down a few notes. And when it seems a cheap Brotto paper, Pat Brotto paper, I don't know what it is, but Dad and I go back a long ways. I've known him a long time. No, he wasn't there when I was born. I just found that out tonight. But a lot of the topics of the conversations around the table at home, of course, were about baseball. And some of the topics, as they are in other households, are about how our parents went to school and how they were raised and things that they did. Well, the thing that sticks in my mind is a story that Dad always tells, and that is about how he had to walk 3 miles to school in the winter, in the summer, and how when he got home he had to milk 50 cows, and maybe some of it was true. I don't know if it was 50 or not, but I know he was milking cows. But he also spoke at the school, and the people from Springfield will verify this, that the school there at that time, it's changed now, was a 2-story school. And I guess back then they had boys' entrance and girls' entrances. Well, the school is quite a large school, and similar to that we have here in Tillsonburg, Rolfe Street. Dad's famous line, of course, was that he was the only one that was able to throw the ball over the school without touching the roof. And every time we passed that school going to my grandparents, he always reminded us about that. Remember that? I don't know. Dad, discipline in our family was not like hitting someone or making them sit in the corner or things like that. But I do have to tell this story about Terry, since he told one about me. And it might, as my version of it, might be a little bit different than Terry's. We were out one summer morning in the front yard, and Terry very emphatically wanted to go uptown with his friends. And there was a job that had to be done, and that was cutting the front lawn. Well, Terry and Dad, believe it or not, they argued about that, even back then. And Dad says, no, you're staying here, and you're going to cut the lawn. He says, no, I'm not. I'm going downtown with my friends. And with that, the only time that I ever remember, Dad gave Terry a backhander and knocked him 3 or 4 times in a loop, so I grabbed the lawnmower and started cutting the lawn. But he said, no way, your brother's cutting that lawn, and he did. He didn't go uptown with his friends. So. But when all is said and done, Dad, I thank you for being a companion, a friend, someone I always looked up to, still do. I love you very much.
Might as well leave that there. That wasn't a short joke. And now we'll go to the youngest daughter, Kelly. Sit here.
Welcome, everyone. And as I sit here tonight and I listen to my sister and my brothers, I realize that all 4 of us have shared special memories with Dad. Dad has always expected a lot from us in whatever we did. He taught us well, and he gave us the confidence to achieve our individual goals. And when we did the best we could, he was there with a proud smile and a warm hug. Even when he came to watch his daughters play slow pitch, he still offered some helpful baseball hints. If he told me once, he told me 1,000 times. Hit the ball hard. Or step and throw, step and throw. And I just want to say, Dad, please don't ever stop telling me maybe someday I'll learn. When I was younger, my brother Terry always told me I was adopted. And eventually, I began to believe this. But when I was old enough to argue this fact, I knew I was Sam Lamb's daughter. There were many times when Dad had to be both mother and father for me. He made my nursing graduation day extra special by being there when Mom was naval. I remember looking up and seeing him sitting there with that proud smile. Another time, when we were both wearing white, he walked me down the aisle and he gave me a warm hug and that proud smile again. Thanks, Dad, for all the special memories, and today I want to give you back that proud smile and say, in my eyes, you will never be 65 years old, just 65 years young. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much, Kelly. I hope you people notice the posters that are placed around the room, and there's one in particular that has a bunch of team pictures on it, and there's one team picture, and Terry and Danny aren't in it. Sam didn't coach that year. I took it. I think the numbers here tonight speak for themselves on the popularity of this man, and it's my pleasure to introduce the man of the hour, Sam Lamb.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster. Son-in-law. Mr. Toastmaster, I'm going to read most of this, if I can get through it. Relatives, friends, guests, ball players, both girls and boys. After receiving all of the accolades attributed to me, it is an honor and a pleasure that I have been able to play a small part in the rules pertaining to sports in Tillsonburg area. I would like to thank each and every one, personally, for all of the comments and your presence here this evening. Thank you. Now, Mr. Toastmaster, if I may, I'll say a few more words. This is a brief outline of my life, which has probably been said a dozen times tonight. But I would still like to let you know about my family, my brothers and sisters that are here this evening. As you heard, there was 10 children to Eva and Frank Lamb, our mother and father. 7 boys and 3 girls, and we range in age from 63 to 84. Close. My oldest sister, Marguerite, just had a birthday. She is here this evening. She is 84. My oldest brother, who's here this evening, is 82. The brother, Harry, that is not feeling too well at this time, is 80. I'm taking these ages on 1992. Brother Ernest, he tells me he's 75, I think he's 71. I'm right, okay. I have a sister who is in California that wrote that wonderful note, or whatever she sent. She was just here. She's 67, and I'm 65, and my youngest sister is 63. We had 3 brothers who have passed away. In 1947, I started working at Livingston Industries. And at that time, I met quite a few people, but there's one man here tonight and his wife, Mr. and Mrs. Murray Jacob. Hi, Murray and Irene. Very good friends of ours. I married Dorothy Dickinson, and her mother is here this evening. And by the way, she's 92 years old. I took on a role of being a husband and a father. Terry was born in 1949, Danny was born in 1952, Debbie was born in 1953, and Kelly we raised from 1961 on. The apple of my eye. In 1970, our house became infected with a love bug. And the Lamb residents had some weddings. Dan in June, Debbie in August, Terry in November. And we did not know, other than the first wedding, about the other 2. So when Terry sat down and talked with us, I said to him, well, first thing in the morning, I'll have to go down to the bank and finish out that loan from June. In 1947, I moved to Tillsonburg and worked for Livingston's. I started playing with the Tillsonburg Pan Drives. And from 1947 to 1970, we won a championship in 1962. Dick Peacock was the coach and manager. I see Roger Morjeans here. He's the catcher, or was the catcher, or whatever. And I had a chance to play in those years with these people, the late Bill Barnard, George Foster, Bill East, John Armsberger, Webb Kerr, and Scurry Lee, and many more. In 1970 to 1980, I started to coach a girls' team in 1970. And after 64 and 65, we had a ball team till about 69. So in 1970, I helped coach a girls' team for 3 years. And these girls are here this evening. Hello, girls. I don't know how many's here, but nice to hear from Pat. And thanks for everything, Pat. In 1974, we started a senior club back up. We went to Pat O'Borka's place, Donnie Impey, Max Barlow, and myself, one Saturday morning. Invited up for coffee. Penny made the coffee. Max brought the Smirnoff. Donnie brought the orange juice, and I drank it. After 1974, we won in senior ball, we won a championship in 1975 against Cambridge in 3 games. Pat and myself and a few other people started tournaments in Tillsonburg in 1976, and they are still going on. 1976, this will take us up to about 1980. And 1882 was a bad year. And I really mean a bad year. We lost my wife and their mother. But in 1983, we started back up again, or I came back to the team. And we were fortunate to have Doug Smith, Jim Livermore, Pat Avorka, and Jim Murphy, the late Jim Murphy. And we had a good year that year, went down to Newcastle and played in a tournament. And luckily we came back as winners. That was a very, very good tournament. The players and everybody and all the fans just put in a super effort. In 1983 also, the Sockettes were formed and are still operating. And Vinny's baseball, now I'm going to talk about a few old-timers that are here, possibly gaining on me. Vinny's baseball teams were formed in 1979. The first team went to Niagara Falls to play in a tournament under the direction or the help of Doug Smith, contacting a guy in Niagara Falls, and we got into a tournament. Steve Kyle, Keith Aaron's Kyle, Hendricks, I can't remember all their names now, and we came in second that year. So that was pretty good. And the Vinny's baseball is still operating as of this date. I've had a chance to go to 2 All-Star games, one in Cincinnati and one in Chicago. I have been to World Series since '82 until present time. I can't go into all that. I've been to the Florida tournament starting in '89, '90, and '91 under the direction of John Duncan, and was fortunate enough to play in those tournaments. One other thing, the umpires. I have to thank them. We can't play without them. I maybe didn't get along too well with them. But anyway, we have to have them. That brings me up to this year, 1992. In October of this year, I had an idea to run for council. I talked to 2 or 3 people, Donnie Barnard, Hugh Lester, can't think of the rest right now, but anyway, I decided to run. After speaking with my children and with Mary Ann, I decided to run for council. And as the council, or as the campaign was going, Max and I sat down and had a few talks. I hired him as a campaign manager. Very little pay. Besides that, he had to take time off work to help me. Max and I and my family and Mary Ann, we would deliver pamphlets around the town. And with these signs that people are saying, the People's Man, Max and I were down in my basement, and he said you should have a slogan, and Max came up with the People's Man. So that's how this here sign bit came about. And like Mayor Ham says, we only had so many signs, but we moved them around, that's true. The odd time we would go back to our headquarters. It was a place down past the stoplight. We would deliver our pamphlets from 10 to about 2, and then we would sit down and figure out the next area of the town we would try and cover. By November the 10th and 11th, we had delivered 4,000 pamphlets among all of us. So I want to thank you for that help, Max, that we got. It was a pleasure. Anyway, what happened, it turned out for the best. I'm working under a new mayor, and I appreciate every minute of it. Going back to these words that were said to me, about me, and for me, I want to thank each and every one of you. Marietta Roberts, my niece, Jack Hempy, a good ball player and a friend, Doug Smith, the coach, manager, Pat Smith from the girls ball club, Ed Thompson, that got mixed up with roasting and roosters, my brother-in-law, Greg Hayward, a recent player, still a player, Don Barnard, on the Old Sox now, Pat Avorka, assistant coach and friend for years and years, the chief, Mr. Harley. Who else? Didn't I say the mayor? I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. Don't take it out on me. In closing, I wish to thank each and every one for attending, and those especially involved in coordinating this event. I wish each and every one the opportunity to enjoy the rest of the evening. Thanks, Debbie, Kelly, and Terry. And now, as Red Skelton would say, God bless.
Thank you very much, Sam. The evening has went on a little longer than what we had anticipated, and I want to thank everybody for their patience, and I'm sure we'll look back on it and appreciate it. There were a lot of people that helped out in putting this event on, and I'm not going to mention names because I might miss somebody, and anybody that helped in any little way, I want to thank, because the family really does appreciate it. We have some cake to be served later with coffee for anybody that's interested. You'll notice there's cake over there. One of them, they're shaped with ball diamonds. One of them has lights and the rest don't. I was told I couldn't mention Wolf Wigner's name, so I won't. But I have the strangest feeling he lived in Chicago before he came to Tillsonburg, because they didn't get lights. We're going to have to do a little bit of rearranging to make room for a dance floor down there, so we're going to be shuffling some tables. We'd like you all to have a good time, but please be careful going home. Thank you very much.
Right there. It's closed up.